जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय विष्णुपाद परमंस परिव्राजकधरेष्ठो डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमंस परिव्राजकधरेष्ठोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni, text number 42. Vratam saha astitaha maunam, vratam sa astito maunam, vratam sa astito maunam, atma eka sharanah munihi, atmaika sharano munihi, atmaika sharano munihi, nissangaha vyacharat shonim, nissango vyacharat shonim, nissango vyacharat shonim, anagnihi aniketanaha, anagniraniketanaha, anagniraniketanaha, vratam sa asthito maunam, atmaika sarano munihi, nissango vyacharat kshonim, anagniraniketanaha, vratam sa astito maunam, atmaika sarano munihi, nissango vyacharat shonim, anagniraniketanaha. Vratam, vow, saha, he, Kardama, astitaha, accepted, maunam, silence, atma, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, eka, exclusively, sharanaha, being sheltered, muni, the sage, nissangaha, without association, vyacharat, he traveled, kshonim, the earth, anagnihi, without fire, aniketanaha, without shelter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The sage Kardama accepted silence as a vow in order to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take shelter of Him exclusively. Without association, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter. Kindly repeat. The sage Kardama accepted silence as a vow in order to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and take shelter of him exclusively. Without association, he traveled over the surface of the globe as a sannyasi, devoid of any relationship with fire or shelter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here, the words Anagnir Aniketanaha are very significant. A sannyasi should be completely detached from fire and any residential quarters. A grihastha has a relationship with fire, either for offering sacrifices or for cooking. But a sannyasi is freed from these two responsibilities. He does not have to cook or offer fire for sacrifice because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he has already accomplished all ritualistic performances of religion. Aniketanaha means without lodging. He should not have his own house, but should depend completely on the Supreme Lord for his food and lodging. He should travel. Mauna means silence. Unless one becomes silent, he cannot think completely about the pastimes and activities of the Lord. It is not that because one is a fool and cannot speak nicely, he therefore takes the vow of Mauna. Rather, one becomes silent so that people will not disturb him. It is said by Chanakya Pandita that a rascal appears very intelligent as long as he does not speak. But speaking is the test. The so-called silence of a silent impersonalist Swami indicates that he has nothing to say. He simply wants to beg. But the silence adopted by Karda Mumuni was not like that. He became silent for relief from nonsensical talk. One is called a Muni when he remains grave and does not talk nonsense. Maharaj Ambarish set a very good example. Whenever he spoke about the pastimes of the Lord. Mauna necessitates refraining from nonsensical talking and engaging the talking facility in the pastimes of the Lord. In that way, one can chant and hear about the Lord in order to perfect his life. Vratam means that one should take a vow as explained in Bhagavad-gita. Amanitvam adambhitvam, without hankering for personal respect and without being proud of one's material position. Ahimsa means not being violent. There are 18 processes for attaining knowledge and perfection, and by his vow, Karda Muni adopted all the principles of self-realization. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim, yat kripatamaham vande, Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Long ago, currently, I'll start with the current thing. Currently, there is a discussion going on whether this country should be called India or Bharat. Some people are saying, what is wrong with India? Others are saying, India is the name given by the Britishers. We should, the actual name of our country is Bharat. So we should get back to calling this country as Bharat. Actually, this planet has gone through different names. Originally, this planet Earth was called Ilavrita Varsha. Later on, it came to be known as Ajanabha Varsha. And then after Ajanabha, because Ajanabha was a king who became very famous on account of his ruling. And so the planet Earth came to be known as Ajanabha Varsha. Then later, in King Ajanabha's dynasty, came Rishabhadeva. And Rishabhadeva was an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had 100 sons. Out of them, the eldest was Bharat Maharaj. When Rishabhadeva wanted to give up his kingdom, renounce his kingdom, and he wanted to hand it over to his sons, the next generation, he handed it over to the eldest son, Bharat Maharaj. And he advised all his sons that they should follow the instructions of Bharat Maharaj. And then Rishabhadev quit the kingdom and went to the forest to follow the path of Ajagara Vritti. This Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee and a highly self-realized person. Because it was the order of his father, he married a queen and he ruled over the entire earth for 10 million years. So 1,000 into 10,000 years. That is 10 million years he ruled over the earth. And he was so powerful that his competitors, the inimical kings, they would feel that although we consider Bharat Maharaj our enemy, it is not wise to try to pick up a fight with him. Bharat Maharaj on his side treated everyone equally. For him, they were all equal as his citizens. But some of the subordinate kings, they felt envious of Bharat Maharaj's position as the emperor of the world. But then, Bharat Maharaj was so powerful that they thought that if we try to confront him, then we stand no chance. Although we consider him our enemy, better is to go to him and submit our taxes on our own. Let us not take the risk of trying to fight him. We can never win against him. That was the power of Bharat Maharaj. He had an unrivaled kingdom. He had a very chaste and beautiful wife. And he had 5 sons who were all very obedient to the father. The ministers, the citizens, the kingdom, the soldiers, they were all extremely happy to have Bharat Maharaj as their king. At the end of his reign, when he had completed 10 million years of ruling the earth, he decided that now is the time to divide the kingdom amongst my sons and to take sannyas and go to the forest. Why? 10 million years. He must have become really old. All his hair would have become white, teeth would have fallen off, face would be all wrinkled. He must be sitting on a wheelchair. No, even though 10 million years had passed, he was still in the prime of his youth. He had not become old. All his senses were in full vigor. and he still looked like a very young man. So, none of his energies, none of his vigor and vitality was diminished in any way. He was still full of vigor and vitality, just like a person is in the prime of his youth. So he was still in the prime of his youth. He had not, his senses had not become weak. His body had not become weak. It had not become old. But still, he decided to give up his kingdom. Why? Because the Bhagavatam says, Yo dustyajan darasutan. For a person, Suhridrajam hridisprisaha. Yo dustyajan darasutan. For a person, dara, wife, suta, children, suhrid, friends, rajyam, kingdom, or whatever possessions one has, dustyajan are very difficult for a person to give up. Yo dustyajan darasutan. Yo dustyajan darasutan suhridrajam hridisprisaha. These things are hridisprisaha. They are very dear to one's heart. But then, yuvaiva, jahau yuvaiva malavad. Bharat Maharaj, jahau, he gave up all these things. He gave up his wife, his children, his kingdom, his friends, everything he gave up. How did he give up? Did he give it up because of his old age? No. Jahau yuvaiva. In the prime of his youth, he gave all of these up. How did he give up? With great pain. What to do? I don't want to give up, but I am forced to give up. No. Malavad. Just like somebody goes to the toilet. After passing stool, what does a person do? Immediately he rushes out of the toilet. He doesn't think, oh, what to do? I have to give up my stool and come out. Nobody cries like that. So just like that, Bharat Maharaj gave, finished, over. My family, my kingdom, my relatives, finished. Got relieved from them. In that way, Bharat Maharaj gave up all these things in the prime of his youth. Why? What went wrong? Everything was going fine. His wife was very loving and loyal and chaste. And the sons were all very obedient. There were no competitors. Nobody could dare to stand in front of Bharat Maharaj. Then why did he give up? Uttama shloka lalasaha. Because he had become greedy after Krishna. Like this, Bharat Maharaj gave up his kingdom. And he took sannyas. So after taking sannyas, what did he do? So he gave up his kingdom. He had been a big ruler. All these things. Then after that, what did he do? Harau ratim vahannesha narendranam shikhamanihi. This narendranam shikhamanihi. Narendra means the king. The best of men means the king. Narendranam shikhamanihi. The crown jewel of all kings. That was Bharat Maharaj. Because he was such an emperor, nobody would dare to oppose him. Even inimical kings would come on their own voluntarily and submit the taxes. We don't want to have any conflict with him. So therefore, he was the crown jewel amongst all kings. Unopposed, unrivaled emperor. Harau ratim vahannesha. Because he had developed love for Hari Krishna, this crown jewel of all emperors, what did he do? You can imagine, somebody is so powerful, there is nobody to oppose him. Such a person, what will he do? He will like to enjoy all the opulences. He would like to enjoy all kinds of sense gratification. But look at Bharat Maharaj, he gave up everything. And what did he do? Bhiksha matan naripure. He started bhiksha. Because he had taken sannyas, he became a beggar. He started begging. You can imagine, Narendranam Shikhamanihi, crown jewel of all kings, emperor, unrivaled emperor. He gave up his kingdom for what? To beg in the streets. And where did he beg? Did he beg in his capital? or around his palace so that everything will be taken care of. He will easily get all his alms. No. Bhiksham Aripure. He, without any consideration, he went into the kingdom of even his inimical kings. Those who considered him his enemy, even to those kingdoms without discrimination, he went and started begging door to door. Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai. And not only that, Swapakamapi Vandate. He, when he would go from door to door begging alms, whenever he would come across even a Chandala, a man who is a eater of the dog flesh, in the Vedic society, somebody who eats dog flesh was considered the lowest of man. There is a class of people even today who eat dog's flesh. So this Bharat Maharaj, if he would even see a Chandala, Swapakamapi Vandate, he would offer his obeisances. You can imagine, Narendranam Shikhamani, what a contrast. And that Narendranam Shikhamani, the crown jewel of all kings, who was the unrivaled emperor, he is begging for alms even in the cities of his enemies, and he is offering his respects even to the lowest of the persons in the society, who is the least respected, who is the rejected from the society. Even to such people, he was offering his respects. So, this Bharat Maharaj, he, like this, he gave up his kingdom, his opulent position. Why? Because Harau Ratim Vahan Nesha, because he had developed Rati, attraction for Krishna. And we all know how he then later went to the forest, and there in the forest, he went to Haridwar, and there, when somehow unfortunately he developed attraction for a deer, and then because of that attraction for the deer, when he gave up his body, he had to become a deer in his next life. But because he had developed Krishna consciousness, bhakti, love for Krishna, almost to the stage of bhava, what happened? He could remember even in the deer's body his previous life. So, by the time the time came for him to give up the body of a deer, when the time for death came, he submitted a prayer to Krishna that always engage me in your devotional service. And like this, he gave up the body of the deer. And he became, next life, he became Jada Bharata. So this, and in the life of Jada Bharata, he further perfected his life and went back to Godhead. This is the life of Bharat Maharaj. So glorious. And because of Bharat Maharaj, such a high level of renunciation, the planet came after Ajanaba Varsha, it came to be known as Bharata Varsha. And then, of course, after the Britishers came, it became India, and today we know it as India. In the future, again, the name may change. All these things will go on. Now, interestingly, after describing the whole glorious pastimes of Bharat Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami makes a statement about Bharat Maharaj. He says that Arshabharsyeha Rajarsher, because Bharat Maharaj was a son of Rishabhadeva, he came to be known as Arshabha. Arshabha means son of Rishabha. Just like son of Pritha becomes Partha. Like that, son of Vasudeva becomes Vasudeva. Like that, son of Rishabhadeva becomes Arshabha. Arshabhasyeha Rajarsher Manasapi Mahatmanaha. This son of Rishabhadeva, Bharat Maharaj, he was a Mahatma. Although he was a Raja Rishi, he was a king, but still he was a Mahatma. The word Mahatma is generally reserved for saintly people, not for kings and politicians. Bharat Maharaj was a king, he was an emperor, but still he was a Raja Rishi and he was a Mahatma. Arshabhasyeha Rajarsher Manasapi Mahatmanaha. So, the activities of the son of Rishabhadev who was a Raja Rishi, was a king, and at the same time a Mahatma, they are so glorious that no other king, Nripaha, no other king in this earth, in the history of this earth, Nanu Vartmarhati, they have been able to follow the path of Bharat Maharaj. The example that Bharat Maharaj set, giving up the kingdom in the prime of his youth, without any attachment, and being so humble, being devoid of any discrimination, this is my friend, this is my enemy, he would go and beg alms even in the cities of his enemies. And so humble that he would offer his obeisances even to the lowest of the dog eaters in the society. So this path, this glorious execution of devotional service by Bharat Maharaj, Nanu Vartmarhati Nripo, no other king has been able to emulate him. Manasapi, even in mind, no king could even dream of following the path of Bharat Maharaj. And then Sukadeva Goswami gives a wonderful example, simile. He says, Makshikeva Garutmataha. Just like the path of flight which is taken by Garuda, can a mosquito ever think, I will also follow in the path of Garuda? Impossible. Mosquito can also fly. Garuda also flies. So can a mosquito ever dream, I will, the way Garuda flies, I will also follow him in his path. Possible? Not possible. Where is Garuda and where is a mosquito? So like that, the path followed by Bharat Maharaj was so glorious, it is impossible to be followed by any other king, even in their minds. They cannot even dream of following the path of Bharat Maharaj. So glorious is the path of Bharat Maharaj. So the point is that when someone becomes attracted by the lotus feet of Krishna, then what happens? One cannot remain in the association of worldly family and household duties. Even if one becomes a king, even if one becomes an unrivaled emperor of the world, still none of these things can attract our heart. So that is why Kardama Muni also, what did he do? He was, he had such unrivaled opulence, even greater than that of Bharat Maharaj. After all, Bharat Maharaj was the emperor of this world. But Kardama Muni, having obtained mastery of all the 8 Ashta Siddhis that a yogi can attain, he took his wife Devahuti and enjoyed in the heavenly kingdoms. Directly in his present body, he and Devahuti went to the heavenly planet Swargaloka and they enjoyed there. Can you imagine the opulence of Kardama Muni? But even he, the moment his son Kapiladeva was grown up enough to take care of Devahuti, he said, I am leaving the house. Actually, he was living in a hermitage, but still he had no attraction towards his family household duties. He said, enough, I am going. And so he left the home and Vratam sa astito maunam. He stopped all his speaking about any household affairs. All the worldly material activities he stopped speaking about them. Why? Because Atmaika Sarano Munihi. He was exclusively surrendered to Krishna. Just like Bharat Maharaj also. Got fed up with his emperorship, with his kingdom, with his family. Said, forget it, I don't want all these things. And went to the forest. And his only thing was, Ratim Vahannesha Harihi Harau. So his only thing was his attraction for Krishna. So this is the nature of devotees. The devotees of Krishna, how are they characterized? If you look at a Ashtanga yogi, he will be engaged in severe austerities, performing dhyana, trying to attain samadhi. So these are the characteristics of an Ashtanga yogi. If you look at a Jnana Yogi, what are his characteristics? He will be engaged in, what will he be engaged in? He will be engaged in deep study of the Vedas. He will be studying Upanishads. He will be studying Vedanta Sutra. So these are the characteristics of a Jnana Yogi. So when it comes to a great devotee like Bharat Maharaj and Kardama Muni, how are they characterized? They are characterized as it is explained. Vagbhihi stuvanto manasa namantas tanva namanto manasa smarantas tanva namanto apyanisham na triptaha bhaktaha sravan netra jalaihi. So these bhaktaha, these devotees of Krishna, how are they characterized? Vagbhihi stuvanto, they are constantly, their vagbhihi, their words are engaged, suvantaha, constantly their words are engaged in glorifying Krishna and his pastimes and his qualities. Vagbhihi stvanto manasa smarantaha, and their minds are constantly engaged in remembering Krishna's lotus feet, his form, his pastimes, his qualities, his holy names. Vagbhihi stvanto manasa smarantas tanva namanto, and their bodies, they are engaged constantly in offering obeisances to Krishna. And although apyanisham, anisham means without cessation, a devotee is engaged in all these things, na triptaha, he never becomes satiated. It never becomes hackneyed. Every day we are hearing Govinda Madhipurusham. Every day we have to come and offer Dandavat in the temple hall. Every day we have to chant 16 malas of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Every day in the morning 4:30 we have to come for Mangalarati. Every day we have to do Guru Puja for Prabhupada, our spiritual master. It becomes hackneyed. We need a holiday. We need a break sometime. No break is needed. Anisham, na triptaha. We don't become satiated. It doesn't become hackneyed. We don't become fed up. What is everyday same thing? No. Shravan netra jalaha. And these devotees of Krishna, when they are advanced, why do they not become satiated with constantly glorifying Krishna, chanting his holy name, offering obeisances to him, and constantly remembering him? Why? Because they, instead of becoming fed up with these things, what happens is, whenever they glorify Krishna, whenever they remember him, and whenever they offer their obeisances to him, Sravan netra jalaha, tears swell up in their eyes, and they cannot help but crying in ecstasy. So they don't get fed up. They don't get, it doesn't become hackneyed for the devotees. On the other hand, whenever they get an opportunity, they offer obeisances, they remember Krishna, they chant his holy name, their hearts well up. The ocean of bliss of devotional service to Krishna overwhelms their heart, and it comes out as tears in their eyes. Samagram ayur harereva samarpayanti. Like this, samagram ayu, their entire lifespan, they spend having surrendered it completely to Krishna in this way. So this is how personalities like Bharat Maharaj and Kardama Muni, their entire life they want to spend like this, shedding tears whenever they remember Krishna, whenever they chant his holy name or his pastimes or his qualities, or by offering obeisances to him. So this is a characteristic of a devotee. A devotee constantly is engaged in serving Krishna in some way or the other. And in that service, he never feels any satiation. In fact, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated, Shantir avyartha kalatvam viraktir mana shunyata Asha bandha samutkanta namagane sadaruchihi Asaktis tad gunakhyane vasatis pritis tad vasatis thale. ityadayo anubhavahasyur jata bhavankure janai. So in the hearts of devotees, in whose heart jata bhavankure jane, where that seed of bhava, love for Krishna, where that seed has been sown, they are characterized by these qualities. What is that? Kshantihi, they have great tolerance of all material distresses. They never get disturbed by any material distress. You can imagine Bharat Maharaj, emperor, from emperor he became a beggar, but not disturbed at all. Why? Because the level of tolerance of the devotees it is infinite. Any amount of material catastrophe comes in their life, they will never be disturbed. Look at the Pandavas, how much calamities after calamities came in their life, but never disturbed in their devotional service to Krishna. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, how much he was tortured by his father Hiranyakashipu, but never disturbed in the slightest. So, Kshantir Avyartha Kalatvam, and every second they want to engage in Krishna's service. They cannot live without serving Krishna. And that is why they are Vagbihistvanto Manasa Smarantas Tanva Namanto Anisham. Constantly they are engaged in this. Glorifying Krishna, speaking about his wonderful qualities, speaking about his instructions in the Bhagavad-gita, his pastimes from the Bhagavatam. And whenever they get an opportunity, they keep remembering those things also. And whenever they get an opportunity, come to the temple and offer obeisances to Krishna. So, avyartha kalatvam, not a single moment they can waste. Every single moment they want to engage in Krishna's service. And Asha Bandha, they have great hope. Although personality like Bharat Maharaj, he was so humble. He was thinking this Shwapaka, this Chandala who is eating dog flesh, he is better than me. I am more fallen than him. He is so humble. But at the same time, he is thinking, even though I am so fallen, I have great hope that Krishna is Deenabandhu. He is very merciful to the most fallen people. So he will definitely show his compassion upon me. So this is the characteristic of a devotee. Although he feels that I am the lowest of the lowest, I am lesser than a worm in the stool, still Krishna will show his mercy upon me. And Asha Bandha Samutkantha, the devotee is greatly eager to render devotional service to Krishna, to develop love of God. Uttama Shloka Lalasaha. That is how it is described about Bharat Maharaj in the Bhagavatam. Why did he give up his kingdom, family, everything? Uttama Shloka Lalasaha. Because he had developed greed to develop love for Krishna. So the devotees, they are always greedy. They want to develop Krishna Prema. They want to develop love for Krishna and render him exclusive devotional service. So Asha Bandha Samutkantha Namagane Sadaruchihi. They simply love chanting Krishna's holy name all the time. Not a single moment they want to spend without glorifying Krishna, without chanting his holy name. That is why you see every day we chant 16 malas of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Do we at any point of time feel, what is this every day? Morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, now to sit and chant 16 malas, what to do? What a great torture this is. No, we are waiting for that time. 5 o'clock, come on now, let's sit and chant our rounds. Time to chant our malas. So devotee, Namagane Sadaruchihi. We may have ruchi to taste, we may have the taste to chant only 16 malas of Hare Krishna mantra. But Jata Bhavankure Jane, when we go on developing our Krishna consciousness, when the seed of love for Krishna starts sprouting within our heart, then what will happen is, Namagane Sadaruchihi. We cannot live without chanting Krishna's holy name every second of our life. And not only that, Asaktis Tad Gunakhyane. We become attached to glorifying Krishna. In this material world, we see people, they glorify different personalities. Somebody is glorifying some politician, somebody is glorifying some businessman, somebody is glorifying some scientist, somebody is glorifying some sportsman, somebody is glorifying some film star. A devotee can glorify only Krishna. No matter whomever anybody glorifies, for him it has no value. A devotee, he is attracted only towards the glorification of Krishna. Everything else becomes so dry. You glorify anybody else, what is there in him to glorify? Krishna is so glorious. You can never be satiated in glorifying Krishna. He is the most perfect personality. He is the infallible person. How much ever you glorifying him, it is not enough. And Preetis tad vasati sthale. A devotee is very attached to live in a place where the Lord is conducting his pastimes. Therefore, devotees are interested in living near the temple, or they want to live in Vrindavan or Mathura or Mayapur and such holy places where the Supreme Lord has conducted his pastimes. A devotee is not interested in living in some opulent place, like, in the modern day world, people are interested in going to America. They want to go to America, they want to go to European countries. Why? Because these are places of great opulence. But a devotee is not attracted to any of these things. He is interested in being there where the pastimes of Krishna are manifested. So, these are the symptoms of a person in whose heart he has not yet developed love for Krishna, but the seed of the love for Krishna has started sprouting in his heart. These are the wonderful characteristics of such a person. And the same thing we are seeing even in the case of Kardama Muni and Bharat Maharaj. So he is Vratam sa asito maunam. He is not interested in talking about anything else. He wants to talk only about Krishna. So he has become maunam. He has become silent about all material activities. And Atmaika Sarano Munihi, he has exclusively taken shelter of Krishna. Nissangaha, he has given up association of everything material. All his wife, children, home, everything he has given up. Nissangaha. Vyacharak Shonim, he started traveling the earth from place to place, glorifying Krishna. Anagnir, and he had given up his association with fire. No more engagement in any of the Vedic duties. Because those days, nobody could be free from performing the duties of Varnashrama Dharma. He said, I am not interested in Varnashrama Dharma also. I want to simply glorifying Krishna. And Aniketanaha, he does not want to take shelter of anybody else. I don't want anybody else. I want only Krishna. These are some of the characteristics of a great exalted devotee like Kardama Muni. And this is common to all the devotees, like we have discussed about how even Bharat Maharaj also displayed similar symptoms. And if you take any devotee of Krishna, whether it is Bharat Maharaj, whether it is Prahlad Maharaj, whether it is the Pandavas, whether it is Narada Muni, the same characteristics you can see everywhere. They are exclusively dedicated to Krishna. They are interested only in glorifying Krishna, and they are not interested in worldly association, worldly opulences. Their attraction is solely towards Krishna. These are the characteristics of devotees of Krishna. If there are any comments or questions, we can discuss before we close.
In Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha nanirgnirna chakriyaha.
Yes.
So there Krishna is saying, sannyasi is a person who works without taking shelter of the result of his activities and does his duty, not a person who doesn't light a fire or does not do anything.
Yes.
So that seems opposite to the verse we have discussed today. Where
yes, there Krishna, if you see, he is talking of a person who has given up the desire for the results of his activities. That is the first stage. When in the process, in the development of Krishna consciousness, in the development of one's spiritual life, what is the first stage? First stage is virakti or vairagya, renunciation. You renounce the fruits of your activities. Okay. Later on, Krishna says, what does Krishna say? That yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karmabandha. That ultimately you give up the desire to enjoy the fruits of your activities. But then the question comes, what do you do with those fruits? Those fruits you have to surrender to Krishna. So once you have come to the point of handing over all the results to Krishna, then what is the point in, there is no more requirement of performing any duties. There is no more any requirement to perform any sacrifices. So what Krishna, when he is saying in the Bhagavad-gita, that the person who gives up the fruits of his activities is the really renounced person, not one who does not light a fire. What Krishna there is saying is, one should not become an artificial sannyasi. One should not artificially renounce the material world externally, while internally you are still attached to the fruits of your actions. So external show is not important. In the case of personalities like Kardama Muni and Bharat Maharaj, they have actually become free from all desire for the fruits of their actions, and they have also developed love for Krishna. So for them, there is no more necessity of doing anything. That is how we have to understand. So it's a much more advanced stage than the stage what you have mentioned, which Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad-gita. Is that okay? Any other point? We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.